piece of paper is a symbol of the knowledge you have gained from your classes in the fields of math, science, English, social studies, etc. The so-called formal education and the benefits that go along with that knowledge. The ability to add, subtract, multiply, construct a reasonable sentence, use proper punctuation, and possibly point to the U.S. Capitol on a map, or maybe even know who the vice president is. On the other hand, this piece of paper has a much more informal character. It represents your obedience, your willingness to say yes, sir, and jump through hoops to get ahead. This is the real lesson of a public education, remember. The people that designed this system in the early 20th century, Horace Mann and others like him, were explicit on the idea that we needed to create a group of people that could operate factories efficiently and with minimal disobedience. Congratulations, you've been successful. But I don't think the word obedience is the best word to describe many of you. Maybe obedient enough is better. This is not something to be ashamed of. Most of us spend our lives working in an environment where someone will be telling us what to do. The constant willingness to accept this arrangement is a very useful skill to learn, and you have demonstrated it well. It will help you to secure employment and keep food on the table. These, in my opinion, are the real fruits of your graduation tonight. The tangible economic benefits of finding your way into the labor market, as we all have to do at some point. That second part might sound depressing, but I want you to try to remember, if you took my classes that is, how much of the population is exactly the same. People who live a life of incredibly hard work. My advice for you tonight, don't let the daily 6 a.m. alarm get you down. Because at some point, simply having food on the table and a stable, healthy home has to be enough. Basically, prepare to work hard. The rewards will probably not be glitzy or glamorous. I would be lying if I told you that hard work will lead to the land of MTV's cribs. But I can tell you that it instills the kind of values that lead to survival, stability, and fulfillment. In a world that seems to be going mad around us, these are major achievements. Back to that piece of paper you're about to receive. Most importantly for me, knowing many of you as I do, it is a symbol of your hard work, perseverance, and unwillingness to give in to the forces rallied against you. Many of you have overcome the most astonishingly difficult obstacles to get to where you sit tonight. I have a huge amount of respect for you on this account. Your parents and other supporters were there, but you have displayed what in philosophy is called agency, or the ability of an individual to act in the world around them. It takes character to do what you have done, and I salute you. The journey does not end here. Securing employment is not enough. Much of our life is defined by the work we do. Trust me, I've spent more waking hours in that windowless classroom than I can count. Those long hours influenced who I am today, and I love nearly all of them. This is so important. Find something you love to do and pursue it relentlessly. You have all proved that you're more than capable of getting through this part, the hoops. Now for the next step. The next few years are probably the most important phase of growth you will ever go through as a person. There will be fewer second chances. There will be bumps along the way and missteps. These are normal. Learn from them. And take the opportunity to expand your learning beyond the reading, writing, and arithmetic we are taught you. High school is designed to give you the tools of basic knowledge about the world, but understanding is a different beast altogether. The serious learning, the real understanding, will depend on how willing you are to explore knowledge yourself. The world is so amazingly complex, and a high school education does not go far enough in giving you the tools to explore it. To understand the world around you, how it functions, and for whom it functions best is fundamental. For the last 40 years, history has been largely written by the people that prefer that you do not vote. The people that want to prevent you from participating democratically in the society around you. You have been deliberately misled to believe that you do not matter. You have been fed absurd spectacles of celebrity and gossip that keep you paying attention to all the things that don't matter. After listening to some of us on this campus, you should be familiar with how and why this is occurring. You don't need me to explain it to you again here. Read a lot. Find out more. Stop taking bathroom selfies. Start reading about droughts, food shortages, and social movements pushing for change. Your generation will make or break it all. How's that for pressure? Historian Howard Zinn said it best. I have to go quote it here. We don't have to engage in grand heroic actions to participate in the process of change. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. I congratulated you all earlier for your obedience. But the spirit of defiance that you all have, that part of you that distrusts people in power, hang on to it. Because there are some real labor struggles in the head in the years to come that you should be ready for. Enough bathroom selfies. 10 years ago, I arrived in Phoenix with a pretty vague idea of what I wanted to do with my life. Some kind of teaching gig was the ultimate goal, but it was still undefined and far out of reach. Changing the world seemed like a fool's dream. 2 years later, I walked into Bostrom as a student teacher, mostly by accident. I knew almost immediately that this is where I needed to be. Teaching here has proved to me that the process of education is a two-way street. As I said before, I've spent more waking hours in that windowless room than I have in my own house. What we do for our day-to-day work molds and shapes us. In this sense, that little room and what took place in it has profoundly shaped me. I've learned much along with all of you. In these 8 years, I've learned that social transformation is truly up to your generation. You're all part of those millions that Howard Zinn talked about. I learned a certain level of patience, though my wife might not agree with that completely. I learned what it means to try and give a sterile, boringly written curriculum meaning for young people who really want to know why the world is the way it is. More importantly, I learned what the word struggle really means. I've watched 17 of these ceremonies. Every group had to push themselves against the odds, and each ceremony has been a testimony to the power of human perseverance. Most importantly for me, on a more personal level, I have learned through all my students my life's purpose. Teaching at Bostrom has brought meaning to my work. I didn't feel like I was just teaching. It felt like something more. You all, I hope, got a sense of what my purpose was. The details don't matter here. Anyone who paid attention can tell me. Tonight, I feel like I'm graduating in a sense along with you. I'm walking away from 8 years of self-fulfillment and leaving behind a group of students that sustained me through some of my own darkest times. I'm leaving behind the most daring and creative colleagues I could have asked for. I'm leaving somewhat reluctantly, I might add. If you cannot tell already, I love this place dearly. Sometimes the process of growth is painful, and one has to leave behind what they love and what kept them going for so long. Many of you will be taking that step on the path to growth, leaving behind your parents, possibly leaving town for college and university. My greatest hope with each of you is that you find what I did, a career that gives your life a purpose, with an income that puts enough food on your plate. This is the best most people get, and it isn't too bad in my opinion. It has been a privilege and a learning experience to work with all of you. To the staff, and you, the students in particular, may our paths cross again someday. Congratulations to the Bostrom class of 2015. Please welcome back Mr. Watson to the podium.